Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 13 start and sit video for the running back position. Again, hopefully you checked out our start and sit video for the quarterback position. You guys are prepared for the Thursday night game. We've got the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots. There are two teams on a bye. You've got the Panthers and the Cardinals. So as far as running backs go, Connor is obviously not playing, and Foreman. That's probably it. So these are your obvious starts at the running back position. These running backs should be in your lineup starting. Even if you think this matchup isn't great, they just get enough touches that they should have the ability to perform at least, consistently. So I like these running backs as a good, obvious start. Now, the first running back I have as a good start this week is going to be Dameon Pierce versus the Browns. Browns give up 29.1 points and over 115 yards to running backs. Pierce has played very well this season. If the Texans want to start hot against this Browns team to actually be relevant, they're going to have to use Dameon Pierce. Just like that matchup they did against the Eagles where they were running the ball and kind of controlling the clock to be almost upsetting the Eagles, that's kind of the same really play and script they're going to have to do against Cleveland to actually make this a competitive game. So I can see where Pierce is going to get the ball quite often, run probably 15 points or so in fantasy, because if the game script goes away, they fall behind against Cleveland. Pierce, unfortunately, does not have the same value as obviously some other running backs who will provide, some points in PPR and things like that. He doesn't get a lot of receptions as you would hope he would. Not to say he can't catch, he just doesn't. They, for whatever reason, don't utilize him properly enough in the passing game. So hopefully Texas can keep it close. If they can keep this game script the way I'm hoping they do, Dameon Pierce is going to have a great game because the Browns just struggle stopping the run. So again, I like him this week. Another running back I like is David Montgomery versus the Packers. Look, the Packers have allowed 24 points to running backs the last 3 games. That's the RB1. That's the number 1 running back in the team. They've struggled stopping running backs. Monty has earlier this year had 15 points against Green Bay. And again, that was earlier this season, but he still put up 15 points. And that was with Khalil Herbert on the roster, getting some touches. Now with Herbert obviously in IR, Montgomery's the lone wolf in that backfield. We're hoping Justin Fields does play. Right now he's questionable. We'll kind of keep you up to date if we get any news on that injury. But if Fields plays, I think it only adds value to Montgomery. If he doesn't, then obviously that will affect him a little bit. You may have to adjust your lineup there. But again, Packers are allowing 127 rushing yards. They're allowing an average of 5 yards per carry. This is not a good defense. So I like Montgomery this week a lot. Now, the last running back I have as a good start is going to be Najee Harris versus the Falcons. Now, Najee obviously is dealing with an abdominal injury. He had to leave Monday night's game early. Snell played well, filling in because obviously Warren, the rookie's out. Now, Warren is expected to be back this week. So if Najee Harris does not play, I like Jaylen Warren a lot more in this week just because the matchup is so good. Obviously, we got to keep an eye on that injury because if Najee does play, I like him this week. The Falcons are a team that's struggling against the run. They're allowing 24.1 points and over 100 rushing yards. The last 4 games alone, they allowed 21 points to each running back that started. So, again, whether it be Najee, and hopefully it is. If it's not, then I still like Jaylen Warren as a nice little sneaky play as well. You might want to fill him in place of Najee against the Falcons. Now, the first running back I have as a good sit is going to be actually Devin Singletary for the Thursday night game against the Patriots. Patriots are the best against the running back. They do not allow a lot of rushing yards. They allow under 77 rushing yards and only 15 points to running backs combined. And they've only allowed 1 touchdown all season to running backs. So if Singletary is going to have a good game, it's going to be really on the passing side. I don't expect this game to be a blowout. I don't think Patriots can keep up with the Buffalo Bills if the Buffalo Bills are on top of it. I actually could see this game going either way. I know Buffalo is obviously a team that a lot of people have had high hopes for, but unfortunately they've been struggling. They played down to their competition a lot, and the Patriots obviously know this team very well. Obviously, Bill Belichick knows his team very well, and one thing he does a great job is getting his defense ready. So I'm not playing Singletary. Now, obviously, you're going to start your studs like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, but Singletary, I'm kind of sitting on the bench right now. Alvin Kamara is another running back I'm not recommending at all this week. Obviously, if you have no other options, you've got to start him. But for me, if you've got other players you could put in there, I'm putting Kamara on the bench. He's going against the Bucs this week. Kamara has been struggling. Now, division rivals, games could go either way. But the Bucs have only allowed 18 points to running backs and under 96 rushing yards. In the last 3 games alone, they've only allowed 13.7 points to the running back each. And Kamara has absolutely struggled. This whole New Orleans Saints offense has struggled. And I wish they would put Andy Dalton on the bench, put Winston back in. And I think that would actually open up things for Kamara. But hey, I don't run the Saints offense. I don't run the Saints organization. I just think that would be the better play. But for me, again, if I don't have any other options, I'm sitting Alvin Kamara this week. I've seen a lot of people asking questions about Kamara and what to do with him. Because realistically, guys, there's 2 weeks left to try to make the playoffs if you already not clinched. So every move you make is very crucial. And sometimes sitting a running back like this might help you, just because if you start him and he gets you 7 points and you had someone on your bench put you 15, you're gonna kick yourself. So again, if you have no other option, play him, but I would look at something else. Another running back I have is Jeff Wilson against the 49ers. I have him as a good sit this week. Jeff Wilson's playing his former team. Should be a great game. I'm looking forward to this Dolphins-49ers game. It's definitely going to be a playoff atmosphere-like game. It's going to really prove to each team if they're really ready for the playoffs. But again, 49ers are the number 1 defense in the league. They're second against the run. They hold running backs to 59 rushing yards and only 16 points combined. Last 3 games, they held Kamara to 11 points, Connor to 13 points, and Eckler to 13 points. Those are stud running backs. Jeff Wilson is not one of those running backs. And the fact that they obviously know Jeff Wilson's style, they know, obviously, Mike McDaniel's style. I mean, look, it's going to be a fun game. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking to see what the mindset of the offense for the Dolphins against this number 1 defense. It's going to be a great game. I think Kyle Shanahan gets the edge in this matchup. I just because he knows that team very well, based off of what, that personnel. But I'm not playing Jeff Wilson. Just don't do it. Now, a nice little sleeper I have is Kyren Williams. A lot of people have been asking about him. He's going against the Seahawks this week. Seahawks just gave up a huge game to Josh Jacobs. Now, obviously, Kyren's not going to do what Josh Jacobs just did. I don't think anybody is going to really do what just Josh Jacobs just did. But if the Rams are to keep this game competitive, because obviously they have to, they're not a good team, Kyren's got to get touches often and early in this game. I know obviously Cam Akers they both kind of equaled in rushing touches, but if you look at the routes, huge difference. Kyren Williams outran as far as the routes go, 21-3. So Kyren Williams obviously is going to have the edge in a PPR league where obviously standard you might play Cam Akers, but I like Kyren as a nice little sleeper. He's a nice little flex play because again, he's going to provide, I think, 4 to 5 catches, probably 60, 70 yards rushing, maybe sprinkle a touchdown in there and get you a really good game. I just like this matchup for him to kind of sprinkle in. And because the Rams are pretty much out of it, there's a good chance Stafford isn't playing again. Obviously, you don't have your receivers. They're going to rely on these running backs, both Akers and Williams. So I like Kyren as a nice little sleeper. I know you guys have asked a lot of those questions, but again, I like him as a nice little sleeper. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for Week 13 running back edition. If you guys do have questions for your lineup, of course, hit us up in the comments down below. We love to answer those questions. We love to give you some reasons why those particular players should be in your lineup. Of course, you make the ultimate decision, but we want to make sure we give you some good stats to kind of back those decisions up. Of course, if you guys are enjoying the content and you guys are new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer to that 1,000 mark. So thank you guys so much. You guys have been amazing. If you guys also enjoyed the content, make sure that like button is greatly appreciated. If you guys, again, have not already, check out our quarterback start and sit. We'll be dropping the wide receiver start and sit video as well. Make sure you guys pay attention to that. And of course, the tight end one. And again, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. I'll catch you guys next time.